Oh, welcome to Arsenal Above All, the 80th episode. So I thought I'd get a special panel here with me tonight. We've got James, Lauren, and Brian. They've cooled down a little bit, but I'm not sure if that will stay the same after the credits roll. When we discuss what happened yesterday, which was a very interesting, entertaining, and whatever objectives you want to add to it, draw at the Etihad. And everything else that came after it as well. We'll talk about that and lots of other bits and pieces. But of course, before all of that, let's go. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, Lauren? Good to have you back. You seem to be our good luck charm. You've not yet been on the show where we've lost. So when I booked you in purposely for this.
I was thinking that as well. I was thinking that at the start of the second half. I kind of went, I think it's going to be all right. We'll get something from it. But no, all good. Whoever decided to put Man City in the WSL and in the Premier League on the same day, I need to have a word with them because it was a very stressful Sunday. That is not what God intended Sunday to be. But sure, look, we got through it in the end.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Two twos, two Desmonds or whatever you want to call it. But thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. I've also got Brian Haley. How you doing, Brian? How are you feeling? You feeling all right? You blood pressure all levels normal?
Oh well, the blood pressure tablets basically have to take a double dose.
You too.
After that, yeah. And after my rants as well on WhatsApp, yeah. But I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah,
good stuff.
Let's get on. Let's get on.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, and also we've got the man, the myth, the legend, James Johnson. How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah. I'm calm now. I like the fact that you gave this an evening to let it digest, and then because it would have been steam coming out of the MacBook if you had to do this yesterday, man. So I appreciate you letting it have a night to sit. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, me and Brian did the post game Atalanta game, right as on the whistle, and if we'd done that last night, then I'm pretty sure that this channel would have been demonetized or whatever. It's not monetized yet, but it would have been if it was, and would have been cancelled and whatever else if we both had got on it last night. Absolutely, yeah, madness. So thanks guys for joining us. Obviously a massive week for Arsenal, 3 away trips, and we've got through it. I think if we had said at the start of it to get what we've got, we would have happily taken it. But it's just the way it went about it. And I'll start with you, Lauren. Just how are you feeling at the moment after all that, and especially what this says to the squad in general and the mentality in terms of how we go forward from this? Because for me, we've only got to see the reactions of those in the media and those connected to City. You even look at, James made a mention of it before we went live, before we recorded, about what the City fans have been tweeting and trolling online. The City admin seem to be more concerned about putting clips together of Haaland smashing into our players with this sort of kind of really cringe music as well, like he's some sort of hero. But what's your thoughts on just how this sets everything up now that we've got these big assignments out of the way, and now going forward to a run of games that we should really be taking maximum points out of?
Yeah, it's been a stressful few weeks for sure. To get through it relatively unscathed, I think we have to be happy. I saw something on Twitter yesterday. It's like, we've gone to Villa, we've gone to Spurs, we've gone to City away from home within the first 5-6 games, and we've come away with 7 points. points, I think it was, which is not too bad at all. I think we all would have been happy with that. I think it's just the circumstances, obviously, with the Odegaard injury. I suppose, you know, I don't want to get onto the conspiracies too early here now, but like the decisions of the officials that we've been going up against as well. It's been tough. It's been a really, really tough few weeks, like I said. But I think one thing you have to take away from it is just the strength and the resilience of the squad that we have built under Arteta. And, you know, you think back to 3 seasons ago, it would have been an embarrassment, really. I don't think we would have had the heads, we wouldn't have had the composure to deal with the challenges that have been thrown at us in and out of our control. And I think, you know, it kind of sets us up nicely now for the run of games that we have. As you mentioned, they look a little bit easier, so I think it's going to be slightly less stressful, but you never know with Arsenal. So I just hope that the biggest takeaway for me is how good we've looked defensively, and I'm sure we're going to get onto him. But David Raya, my God, I think, is it too early to give him player of the season? You know, but I do think the foundations are there. I think we have a lot to work on, and hopefully things start going our way, or things start going a little bit more smoothly for us now, because we've got through a very, very difficult time pretty well, I would say. I don't know how you all feel about it, but yeah, it kind of feels like a breath of relief to have it behind us now and to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way things were after the international break, especially with what happened to Marino and obviously what happened with Odegaard, to get through that, you know, people have, you know, they've completely decided not to mention that we've gone into these games without our talisman, without our captain. And I'm sure, James, we're used to it. If the shoe's on the other foot and we get a positive result, that's all you'll hear. Oh, but Thingy wasn't playing, and we're hearing it now. You know, think the game changed once Rodri came off the pitch, and what have you. But again, what's your kind of thoughts? Do you agree this run of games and the resolve we've shown, especially defensive actions that we've done? Do you think this kind of sets us up really well going forward? You know, and hopefully with another international break to come, we've got hopefully, you know, Marino might be closer to return and Odegaard. But what's your thoughts just on that 3-game run we've had away from home?
Yeah, I think to do that 3-game run and to not lose any of them, I think is very, very impressive. By all means, like I said yesterday, I was I was a bit disheartened, and I was like, look, lick your wounds, because you've come out of that again relatively unscathed, and we'll go forward now with, again, like I say, I always take one game at a time. I used to look at the calendar and go, oh no, there's 3 points there, 12 points, not 50. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it one at a time. It's much easier. It's much more calmer, much better way to go about it. But Mike, for me, there's always been questions, and I don't know if everybody else feels the same, but I've always found, as much as the media have said it, I've seen it with myself, and that's why it hurt me so much, about how Arsenal was soft. You know, for years, Arsenal have been soft. They've got no character. And this goes back to years and years ago when Eduardo unfortunately had what happened to him, and William Gallas threw a hissy fit on the pitch. What was that? What, God knows how many years ago now? More than, 12, 13, maybe 14 years ago now that happened? And this lot that are here now, collectively, as a group, are the strongest, are the toughest, and they're the most determined. And I don't know if it's because they've come short twice. Okay, last season it was only by 2 points. And they're that determined to get something over the line, not just for themselves, but the fans that go up and down the country and what have you, and all around the world that tune in, that believe in them. That, to me, in the last 3 games, I think has shown everything. And I think Lauren's spot on as well about, I was so shocked that we had Arsenal Player of the Month, last week. And again, it's done by a fan vote. And I know fans, we all love Bukayo Saka, but I couldn't believe that David Raya didn't win it. Because for me, he's easily not even just potentially Arsenal's best player of the season. He's one of the best players of any team in the league at the moment. He's absolutely incredible, the stuff that he's doing. I mean, do I want him to keep doing it? No, not really. I'd rather be talking about attacking players and how we're smashing teams up by 3 or 4 goals. But when we did my pod the other week, Mike, and I was saying to you and Melvin, you guys lived it, I didn't. But that George Graham year that everyone speaks about, that, where they only lost the one game. Like I said, there were 6 games in that season that we only scored more than 3 goals in. So I could see something like that happening again with this lot. And I mean, yesterday he nearly saved it at the end anyway. And he was backwards. He was facing the wrong way, and he still nearly saved it. That's how good he is. So, but no. To answer your original question again, sorry, you said about tangents earlier. Yeah, no, I'm anything but impressed. North London derby, you win that. Atalanta, who all of a sudden after we played them, they're mugs, but I saw them win. I saw them beat a Leverkusen side that hadn't lost all season in a final by 3 goals. But they were mugs when we played them for some reason. Don't know how that happens, but yeah. And then to get a draw at the Etihad in a game as tense as that, to be down to 10 men for 45 minutes, I can't not be impressed. Sorry.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's almost. I was always thinking, Brian, I should start the podcast apologising that we didn't play on the front foot in that second half. We didn't throw everyone forward and try and win the game and make it a spectacle for everyone watching at home, so they're happy with their, Sky subscriptions and those who have got it through the various means and what have you. What's your thoughts on just how we've navigated this? And obviously we've got a nice little game, but we've got Bolton, which I think if Arteta could have cherry picked a game as a kind of a break between now and hitting the pedal again in the Premier League, I think he would have chosen a side like Bolton at home. But what's your thoughts as well, Brian, just on how we've navigated that, this tricky period, especially with the injuries that we to the, not to the usual suspects, but Zinchenko and Tomiyasu again, and obviously missing Odegaard. But what's your thoughts on just how we've gone through that and our resolve that we showed yesterday, especially?
Yeah, look, I don't think we kind of expected to have kind of key injuries so early in the season with key games. I don't think Mikel Arteta probably looked at the schedule and thought, oh, well, we're probably going to be without Martin Odegaard against City, or against Atalanta and stuff like that. He's probably set up that squad to navigate those particular types of games, playing a particular type of way, regardless who was basically going to be in the side at that time. I think you've got to give a lot to the manager at the end of the day, and the general coaching staff. To be honest with you, that performance yesterday was just, it's an old Arsenal, isn't it? Yeah. It was an old Arsenal. I'm old enough to, I'm 53 years of age, so I'm old enough to know and see, those types of performances under George Graham. And it was like that. And look, there's going to be critics, and as I said, I've kind of calmed down now, and I can deal with the critics at this moment in time, because if it was anybody else, the narrative would be a lot different. It's just that it's us, and we've been toe to toe with them. And as I've said, look, we haven't lost in 4 games to them now, is it?
Yeah.
4 games, we haven't lost them now.
Yep.
So, and no one's really saying that. No one's really said an awful lot on that.
Yeah.
So
they're flipping it the other way. They're saying that Arteta hasn't beaten. Yeah, they're flipping it the other way. The narrative is the other way around. Arteta hasn't beaten. Only once in 10 games or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
But I think the interesting part will be now is the kind of the switch now, isn't it? It's kind of the switch of game styles now. Because our game style is going to have to. It's going to change, and that's going to be the key thing. The game, I think the next Premier League game, Leicester at home, that is where we will see where realistically where we are really. Because even if we go out and win 1-0, and we create heaps of chances, but we still win 1-0, you know what? We'll take that all day long. But it's kind of going to be those performances now are going to be the things how people will kind of look at us and say, right, yeah, we are the real deal. We've navigated those games in the right way, because we don't really want to see all of the hard work in those games being undone by not putting in performances against teams that we know we should beat, and lessons learned from last season as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is this is why we dropped early points last season against Fulham at home, drew 2-2, the Tottenham at home as well. That was another 2-2. So yeah, this is the perfect sort of time to reassess, recharge sort of thing. Wednesday rotate heavily. We don't know what kind of team he's going to put out, and then go again, obviously, against Leicester. And Jamie Vardy obviously will be well up for it, I'm sure, to see what he can do against Saliba and Gabriel. It's going to be funny, that. I think he's going to get well annoyed when he gets pocketed by those two. But yes, talk on the elements of the game, Lauren, yesterday. I'm sure I'll get all your thoughts on it as well. The accusations of dark arts by Arsenal. And everything that's come out after it, with Silva, Bernardo Silva saying his stuff, and I would say it's quite offensive, but he said more offensive stuff in the past, and he's been fined 50 grand for it. We all, if you know what he said in the past. So I don't know why this guy is getting to be sort of the spokesperson for them after what he's done. But anyway, that's another story. But what's your just thoughts on that? Because to me, it seemed City were absolutely rattled right from the very off. The incident with Havertz right at the beginning. Was that a message for you to say that they're going to try and get the help from this guy as much as they can, because they know we're the real deal now? As James was saying, we used to go down there and get turned over.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. What was your thoughts on that and the way they played upon it, and did we play upon it? Did we go over the top sometimes, or did we push the envelope a little bit? What was your just thoughts on all those accusations?
Do you know what? I was actually really hoping that we would touch on that, and I'm really happy you came to me with that question, because I was thinking about it earlier, and one game, this is a little bit irrelevant, but I'll draw it back. One game that came to my mind that reminded me of yesterday was Chelsea and Barcelona in the Women's Champions League semi-final last year. And Chelsea came to Barcelona and they actually won. And the way that they won that game was by playing, time wasting, hacking players down, which I wouldn't say we did, but you know what I mean? They really played dirty, and they knew what to do against Barcelona because they like fast football. They like to play it quick. Yeah. And how Barcelona responded and got to the final and got to win the Champions League was they went to Stamford Bridge, I believe the semi-final was on, and they played that game back. And I think people are criticizing Arsenal now, and they're saying, look, they're down to 10 men, they're sitting deep, they're playing these dirty games, should we call them? But like, when you think back to Arsenal last season, the season before, a lot of the games that we really, really struggled to win or do well in, we might have played better, but the teams really, really grinded down and they kept us at bay. It was the teams that did that against us. And I have a feeling that Arteta's looking at the past record of that and saying, okay, well, if we're going up against a City team who are, objectively stronger than us based on the past seasons, the only way to do it is to play dirty against them and to really grind their gears and get them agitated. And it's a brave thing to do, going to the Etihad and trying to rile up the players, rile up the fans. But, I don't think it would work at Anfield particularly well. But I think at the Etihad, not as many fans there, not as many Etihad, whatever. But I thought it was really, really clever. And I think it shows another level of maturity in the team as well, that we can go and, I think James said it as well, and Brian as well, like, we're not soft, we're not pushovers anymore. We're not there to play soft football and quick passes. We can be adaptable, and we've changed the way that we've played to adapt against, whether it's different teams, whether it is as I mentioned before, the decisions made against us down to 10 men. Okay, we're not going to play the way that we intended to play, as attacking as we wanted to. So, I do find the Stoke 2010, 2011 or whatever season it was comparisons to be a little bit harsh, because I don't think we're that bad, but I think it does show a level of growth within the squad, that we have gone from saying, okay, we're Arsenal, we play lovely stylish football and, we'll see what happens. It really does show that we've switched on and we've gone up a gear to say, look, we're here now. We know what we need to do to not just win games, but hopefully win leagues. And yeah, I wouldn't really take it as a negative. I think other teams do it and they're praised for it. So again, it's Arsenal. We get different treatment. But overall, I think it's nothing to be ashamed of, particularly in the situations that we've been in against Brighton, in this case against City, where, you know, it's up against us, it's 10 against 11. And we just have to grind in and, you know, stay focused and put a foot in when we need to show that we're not afraid, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I think the one of the big turning points was the game we played against City at the Emirates when Arteta was ill, right? I think he had COVID and he had to stay at home and watch it. And we played so well that game. And it was City's, you know, dark arts or whatever you want to call it, that turned that game around. They got Gabriel sent off. It was Gabriel Jesus, wasn't it, that did it. And then obviously, was it Rodri that scored it right at the end as well? And then Bernardo Silva dived over Xhaka's leg and got a penalty, I believe. I think it was the same game. And yeah, of course, City, you know, they'll never do the dark arts, do they? You know, I remember when they played Atletico and Phil Foden got injured. He got clattered and then he rolled off the pitch and then he rolled back on again to stop the game, didn't he? You know, it's like they all do it. It's just like Ron said, when Arsenal do it, it's a problem. You know, and that's the case, James. I think it's because Arteta does have different ways of playing. He can see a team, and unlike Arsene Wenger, who we used to talk about, you know, so much before in terms of this guy's just got one way of playing and that's it. He's not going to really tinker, and he had to certain occasions, but I think with Arteta, you can see that if he wants to grind it out, he'll grind it out. But if he wants to play football as well, he can put us, you know, do it pretty much as well. He hasn't done it that much this season, but I think that will come. But what's your thoughts on just that and just how, you know, it was just crazy how City just seemed to be getting away with so much, James, in terms of Guardiola. He was in the fourth official's area all game, and after the game, I'm sure he's standing there talking to him for a good 2 or 3 minutes. He just didn't move from there. I don't know what on earth he was going on about. But this is a good thing, right? This is good that we've got under the skin, under the belly, because, you know, again, sorry to go on, but, you know, Bernardo Silva again talking about how, you know, he had a lot of respect for Liverpool and their games. Well, how many times did Liverpool beat City at the Etihad? Was it once? And I think that was in the League Cup. Didn't beat them. I don't think Liverpool beat them at home in the league. So, of course, he's going to like that because it went in their favour. You know, I think obviously in Anfield it was different. But what's your thoughts on that, James, and just how, again, the narrative changes, you know, because we're involved in it?
Well, again, you know, Lauren makes the point of bringing up, you know, different games in different situations. Real Madrid at the Etihad last season play for penalties, beat him on penalties, and it's a Carlo Ancelotti masterclass. Yeah. We play defensive. You know, I don't understand what people want to see. If Arsenal, after Trossard gets sent off yesterday, still go gun ho and try and win it, and we lose by 5-1, how is that a victory, you know, for football or anything? Because the majority of the people that I'm watching and I'm listening to, I know they don't want Arsenal to win the league, but they certainly don't want City to win it either. Well, if City beat us by about 5 or 6 yesterday because we were idiots after a red card and still went for the game, they're probably going to win the league at a canter from there. Even this early on, you're probably going, well, they're going to beat, you know, Arsenal are their closest rivals, and that's taking even bias aside from it. We are we are just the next best team to them. I just don't understand it. You know, and I mean the pundits. I remember last season watching Ange Postecoglou go down to 9, still try and play football, look an absolute Burke, and his players look like absolute Burks doing it. And yet, after the game, the Purple Heart for Bravery is being given out to him by Carragher, by Neville, and all of them. Yet, yesterday, oh no, that's negative. You know, there's Jose in Turkey. We'll be proud of Arteta for this one. Yeah. How do you expect us to play? We're the best defence in the league. So, why would you not do the thing that you're the best at and go, do you know what? Yeah, because how many teams do it to us? The next couple of games that we're going to get, we're going to play against low block sides that are going to, like Atalanta did the other night, that are going to go, come break us down, Arsenal. Because without your chief facilitator of your attacking play, what have you got?
Yeah.
And yeah, we have got people that will, and we probably will do it. But at the same point, they're going to go, show us what you've got. So we do the same against the most potent attacking side in the country, and yet we're negative and we're boring for it. Do me a favour. Do me a favour. It's utterly ridiculous. And yeah, like you said, from the first 6-7 seconds of the game, they're trying to influence it with something that's just completely. He's blocking his path of run. Where you know, for me, Havertz, I would say, is a clever player. I wouldn't say he's dirty. I wouldn't say he's malicious, but he's clever because he's a gangly guy, a bit like Giroud used to do. He's like, I'm just gonna slightly put my body into you, and then if you get me, great. If you don't, I'm going to win the fat. And that's what he did yesterday. Okay, he didn't complete one pass, and that's a big thing that people are going about. Oh, your centre forward didn't complete a pass yesterday. Well, yeah, but he did everything. You know, from a defensive aspect of heading stuff out the box and everything. He was brilliant yesterday. I didn't have a problem at all with how Kai Havertz played yesterday, at all.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, the whole game state got flipped just literally seconds before half time.
Yeah. I mean, we'll come into that now. I'll hand that to you, Brian. I'm sure you like that because again, coiled spring, mate. This is where you let go. Right. So we saw a couple of weeks ago, obviously, what happened with Declan Rice with the issue with the kicking the ball away. Fine, okay. And then we saw, I think, it might have been the following weekend, Szoboszlai do something even worse, where he kind of smashed it across the face of the goal. Kicking the ball away, and the referee deemed it wasn't worthy enough to be a yellow. Or second yellow because he was on the yellow. That referee was, of course, Michael Oliver in that game. I mean, you just cannot write it. I mean, look, I haven't really watched it back that much, but I think Trossard's a bit silly doing that. All right, I just think in that circumstances, he's smashed into Silva. Fine, he's annoyed and everything, but he obviously we're trying to get players who are human beings to have an ice cold temperament at some of the and it's ridiculous to ask that from them really, and it's just before half time and everything. So I think Trossard's given the referee the opportunity to do that, but the referee didn't have to do that. Because if he'd had said, "Look, Trossard, stop messing about, go in half time, cool yourself down. Anything else in the second half, then you're going to get a second one." No one would have complained. No one would have argued. Why? Because he did exactly the same thing to Doku 20 minutes earlier, where he did the same thing. And so no one would have said, oh, well, why didn't you give Finger the yellow? He didn't give Doku a yellow. And then what's that word? Consistency. Because that's all we're asking for as fans, not just Arsenal fans, as football fans. And that's why I've got into an argument with a few people about it. It's all we're asking for is consistency. I'm not complaining about what Trossard did. I think it was a little bit stupid. Under the circumstances, under what's happened to us last couple of weeks. But what's your thoughts on that, Brian? Because Howard Webb came out last season saying Michael Oliver didn't send off Kovacic because he didn't want to influence the game. He didn't want to disrupt the game and spoil the spectacle. Spin that on a couple of months, and he's done exactly that. What's going on here? As Arteta said, are we going to see a lot of games 10 against 11 or 9 against 10? Probably will when it's Arsenal, not when it's anybody else. But what do you think about that whole? Absolute...
Well, I think the first thing at the end of the day, that playing football at levels, I suppose, what Trossard did was daft, to say the least. But I also take a little bit of sympathy because in some aspects of it, it's a game against the champions. We had to be on it. Okay. Everybody had a job to do in there. And he was making his own mark, should we say, in the game. Left one on Bernardo Silva. And it's when it's from that point onwards. That's the issue. It's from that point onwards where the common sense aspect of the game should have come into it. and it wasn't. And that's where we would all look at the factors as this is where the inconsistencies of the game, as we will continue saying, is a problem and an issue. Now, we're talking Mike Oliver is supposed to be our best referee. Our best referees in the past would have dealt with that situation a lot differently. But because he's the top referee now in the Premier League, it's like, I've got to make a level of a point. And that, you know, now I could go on tonight about that, but that's the way how it looks to me, you know, and we're giving some of these referees just a little bit too much kind of grandeur, should we say, you know, and particularly in focal games like this, you just need the levels of common sense. You know, there are high quality players out there, and you've effectively a game of football been arguably it's been ruined by something which he could have actually dealt with, and it wouldn't have been a problem. When you've seen those isolated incidents which have happened in the game anyway, i.e. Doku's situation. There you go.
Yeah. I don't understand it though. It's like, why is this all of a sudden become an issue? Whereas, you know, why is kicking the ball away or delaying the restart of the game become such an issue where yellow cards are dished out when you've got Haaland smashing into Saliba when he's up in the air, you know, and he could have landed really badly, but nothing was given. Obviously, he did what he did when they equalised to Gabriel, and what he did to Thomas Partey when he ran straight through him as well. Going back into other games, what Lisandro Martinez did against Palace, you know, like he, you know, just jumping on the ball like he did, you know, and that's deemed a yellow. So how's that deemed the same punishment as what you know, Trossard's done, or what Rice has done, or what kicking the ball away? It just baffles me, and I think I've said it hundreds of times. They're not fit for purpose, you know, and I don't know how it happens. If something major happens, I think maybe it might take a club to sue the Pgmol. If there's a decision that's really sort of bad, which you've seen. I mean, you've seen Leicester with the goal against Palace. They're saying the Palace goal against them, I should say, and they're saying that the lines were taken from a completely different place. If they actually find that, you know, get that through, they could take them to court. We all thought Liverpool were going to do that last season, you know, if they missed out on the title on a couple of points with what happened at Tottenham. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that, James? Just on the actual state of the refereeing, because you know nobody seems to think there's an issue with Michael Oliver going refereeing games for the company that owns, you know, some of the owners of City, and they think, oh, it's fine. You know, I was told today, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. I don't see what the problem is in him doing that. He, especially after what happened last year at the game at the Emirates, he's been giving us again. Loads of different games where he's influenced things in their favour for whatever reason. You know, I know Lauren was touching on conspiracy side of things, but is it just pure incompetence, or is there something sort of underhand going on? Do you think?
Okay, so I will try and do this as quick as I possibly can, because I know you got 4 people on here tonight that all want to have a say and everything else. So I will try and jumble this and condense this down as quick as I possibly can. So in terms of this kicking the ball away instances, right? There's been over 70 of these incidents, and they've produced 4 bookings. The 4 bookings have gone to Bruno Fernandes, Saliba, Rice, who was a second booking and got sent off, and Trossard, who was a second booking and got sent off. So 3 of those instances have basically been given to us as a club. But yeah, so there's 20 teams in the league, and only 2 teams have had the 4 instances, but 3 of them have been for us. So I used to laugh when everyone would go, "Oh, we're ref differently." I'd be like, "Neil, I think everybody has it a bit bad, mate." But yeah, there's definitely something with us that we're not liked. We, you know, I don't know if it's because Arteta moans the most out of all. You know, he's complained, or last year after the Newcastle thing, they didn't like the statement, a bit like they didn't like the Liverpool one. But when the thing happened with Liverpool, they went, "We don't want that ref in another game for us." and he, as far as I'm aware, he never has.
Yeah,
I don't know. So I don't know why Arsenal now, if Liverpool done it last season, I don't know why now we don't go Michael Oliver. No, because I watch boxing and I watch the UFC. When there's certain judges that do something to certain fighters, their promoters or even the fighters themselves or their camps go, he's not reffing us anymore. And it's an accepted thing. So I think we should be doing the same. I don't know. I know it's a bit of an over-exaggeration, and I don't want to go that. I don't like having a victim mentality like some of our fans have said, because a lot of them aren't even taken into account. I'm like, no, you know that these guys are incompetent, so don't put the bullets in the guns for them to shoot you. Rice, I thought was silly. Trossard, again, thought was silly. But the thing that you've said there is the consistency, and they're going, well, the Doku situation, he's passing the ball back to where it should be because Arsenal were trying to take it further up. For me, if you're booking people for this now, it's because they're kicking the ball away regardless. I don't care what because we had the Hers, whatever his name is, the guy, Brighton manager, Herzl or whatever, going, oh, it's a completely different situation. And then they afterwards said retrospectively, yeah, he should have been booked for it, but it's a different situation. No, for me now, if you kick the ball away, regardless of if you're giving it back to where it should be, whatever, you're booked. And like Arteta said after the game, I hope to see 150 bookings before the end of the season for this. And that's the best thing he said, because he's spot on. For me now, anybody that kicks it, regardless if you're giving it back, whatever, you're booked. Whoever you are, whatever club you are, that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Because you know when they create these new rules, for the first 6 to maybe 8 weeks of the season, they implement them, then they go, I can't be bothered with that anymore. And they swap it back. A bit like start of last season where they said, no, we're clamping down on the aggression now, in the box and what have you. And then all of a sudden, the first game of the season, what was it? Onana against Wolves just goes, just, right hook Daniel Dubois style, the Wolves player. And that's not a penalty. And it's like, hang on a sec. Just absolutely clobbered a man in the face. It didn't make sense then. It don't make sense now. But that's the problem. Yeah, it's the consistency. For me, we've had 2 players do stupid things, rightfully. And you go by this letter of the law. Should they be booked for it? Yes. But like you said, the game's overrun on the time anyway. You just go. Common sense would have gone, hey, Leandro, you've had one, shouldn't. And the audio that was coming through from VAR at the time had nothing about him kicking the ball away.
No, they changed it.
It was about he smashed it, which he had, because he weren't looking at the ball. And like you said, Brian, he's like, I'm leaving one on Bernardo because he's probably winding him up all go. And he's like, I don't like you. Bang, have that. And let's go. So that's the problem is that they're going to try and play that audio, but they're probably going to cut and spice something else in there because the original line of what they said wasn't there to begin with. And then Sky changed their whole narrative because where they've got the earpiece in, they're getting told from Stockley Park, don't mention that, don't make us look any sick. Because that's what's happening because they had that last year. All of a sudden, Neville's going in and then that guy cuts him off right while he's mid-flow because it's like, oh, enough of that. You're making us look silly now.
Exactly. I think you're 100% right. I think Sky basically, the whole Sky program thing, Sky Sports, they've definitely got into bed with Pgmol. They're giving them, they've got their own program which is on TNT and Sky. They have the Ref Watch, which they have on Mondays as well. And yesterday on the game on the commentary, it was weird. I've never heard this before, but Gary Neville actually said, "Oh, we're just hearing from Stockley Park. There's going to be another 2 minutes. This is going to go tonight." And I think I've never ever heard someone say that before. I've never heard him say that. Why have they got fed that information that they're adding another 2 minutes on? Why is he letting it out there? It's all sort of very, very, very dodgy to me, Lauren. I'm obviously coming back to you. You're the person that put out the conspiracy theory stuff, so I came back to you with this. But yeah, it just doesn't sit right, does it? And Arsenal has dealt with it in the past. It seems like it's Arteta's time now to deal with it. But but yeah, just what do you think there's something? Obviously, you're obviously living in Barcelona and knowing what's happened over there with the investigations with the Laporte and the referees, and the referee governing body. We wouldn't be surprised if something came out, would it? If there was some sort of whistleblower, or someone said, "Oh, look at all this." Lots of famous people are getting it at the moment. They're getting arrested and files and what have you in the celebrity world. We just want it to happen in the sport one. And what's your thoughts on just the state of the refereeing situation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can add any more than what you've already said. Like, I'm in full agreement. I think the lack of consistency is the main issue. The fact that it just seems to be the Arsenal players, and like James said, half of all the cards that have been given to players who've already been on yellow cards, and it just doesn't really make sense. I do think the Trossard one, this just to kind of pull back to that, the Trossard one, you can kind of understand in the sense that, okay, he did absolutely wallop Silva. If they had given him for that, I don't think we really would have complained, apart from the fact, obviously, that it was well over time in the first half, whatever. But the Declan Rice one, to me, is still absolutely mind-boggling, because if you're going to give a yellow card to a player already on a yellow card, it has to be a clear and obvious, an absolute boot of the ball away, and he's really trying to disrupt the gameplay.
It used to be that, didn't it? It used to be, if someone's going to get a second yellow, they've got to literally go in 2-footed. They've got to elbow someone. It's got to be violent conduct. It's got to be something that merits that second yellow card, not something.
Exactly. No, absolutely. But I mean, even the Declan Rice one where the ball just was caught under his foot basically, and he kicked it away, whatever. It's very frustrating, and I think, I'm not big into the conspiracy theories. Let me just say that I'm not going to sit here and spin a web or whatever. But I do think, as you mentioned yourself, Michael Oliver off in Dubai or wherever he was, reffing a game for basically the owners of City. They have 115 charges against them. Would anyone be surprised if it came out that there was something going on behind the scenes? Because I certainly wouldn't be. I think a lot of the evidence is there to construct the conspiracy. Again, it's nothing to say it's definitely happening, but it's just there's way too many coincidences, shall we call them, that would make you turn a blind eye to it, because it really is just. It's not just Arsenal, but it does feel like that. And when you have the numbers like James provided, you can't not think, okay, this is a bit strange and there's something going on here. But I think refereeing overall, like you said, they've got their own show now. It's become almost like another entity in football that deserves its time in the spotlight. And I just think at the end of the day, referees are there to make sure that the games are fair, that they're played justly, and at the moment that's just not how it's being used. It's being used as another talking point for the games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. It's like they just want to be these heroes or these guardians of the game, which everyone needs to know who they are and talk about and boost their self-importance. But I think it's just Howard Webb. He just wants to be a celebrity, doesn't he? I think. And he's getting his 50 minutes of fame with Michael Owen, which was the most pointless show, absolute waste of time. That is. But let's talk about some positive things, and we're lucky to have not just one but two of the best centre backs in world football. And that's obviously, we know who they are. Some people call them the Wall. Some people call them Phil and Grant, and but Gabriel Magalhaes, Bry. I mean, what more can you say about him? Because he just had them on strings, didn't he? That City defence, Doku couldn't handle him. Should have scored with that one, and then obviously he scores the other chance when Kyle Walker was being a bit silly, made himself look a mug as well. But what can you say about his performance and where he's come as well? Obviously, in his journey from last season where it looked like, there's a chance that he could go for big money. It kind of came out that the club got an offer, or there was an offer about to be tabled. But people talk about quite rightly about David Raya, about how great he's been so far this season. But I think this guy's been absolutely immense. Apart from that little maybe slip where he played Highland onside for their goal. But just what's your thoughts on his performance yesterday?
Well, before I get to him, I've got to say a big shout out for Calafiori. I'm loving his Tardelli style celebration. running to Arteta, loved it. So that was 82 World Cup all over for me celebration type thing. But for Gabriel, I think what he has probably learned is through the fact of, again, we got to say a lot about our coaching staff, and I think he's probably taken heed of what the expectations are of what we expect us to deliver at high standards. Because what I have noticed in a massive difference just in him is his overall stature on the pitch. There's a level of this, that puffed out chest, all action defender, just wants to defend. And I think again that just comes down to the coaching aspect of it. You can see that there's work being done there. That's not just an individual player that just thought, I've had a few mistakes and I'm trying to rectify. He's listened to coaching staff there. They've taken him slightly out of the firing line. They've worked on him. They can see what ultimately he can do. But look, you've got to give the partnership with William Saliba, which is that's the key. That left foot, right foot combo, speed, strength, height, the plain art of defending. I said go back to the days of Bold, Adams, that era. That's what but with just a bit more quality and a bit more pace.
Yeah. It's true. I think you're right with the styles. I think they say obviously James styles make fights, but I think you've got to have two different styles in your centre backs, really, haven't you? And we've got that with Saliba, who we know he's usually got the smoking jacket on, and he covers round and everything. And when Gabriel goes chasing, like the Rottweiler he is after someone, and and we had that with Sol Campbell and Kolo Toure, didn't we? We go back, in the past with our centre backs. They always have that different attributes and not just styles. You look at Ferdinand and Vidic. They were. You had Ferdinand, who was a guy that sort of used to be the more accomplished one, and then you go back to John Terry and Gala. So you always got that kind of partnership, and we've definitely got that in spades. I think. Do you worry though? Obviously, in the summer, how important this season is for us, because we do know that Madrid are sniffing, and if you look at Madrid's side, we know where you can see where the weaknesses are, or where they need to upgrade in their sort of Galacticos 2.0, and that's their defense. Are you kind of worried that one of those two may get nabbed in the summer if we don't land something quite significant, or you think they're here for the ride?
Nah, sadly, it's the latter, mate. If we don't win anything, one of them two are going to go. You're not selling both in one window, because that's just suicidal, I think, for us to do. But I think one of them definitely will go if we're not winning if we're not winning a top honour. I think one of them will go, because again, it would be so painful to say it, but they deserve to be somewhere where they are winning anything, because they are both equally that good. I think Gabriel, a lot of the time, used to be a lot of people's unsung hero, but now I think he's even at a level where, if he's not the same as the praise that Saliba's getting, sometimes some of the praise that he's getting is even louder than the praise that Saliba's getting, because he's another one this season that's been absolutely remarkable. And the big thing for me yesterday as well was that when Bukayo Saka come off at half-time, the captain's armband went to him. He had Declan Rice there, that's been a Premier League captain for a very, very long time. You know, he's won a European trophy. Okay, it's like the Johnston's Paint Trophy equivalent of Europe, but it's still one, isn't it? You know, it all counts at the end of the day. And he went, no, Big Gabby's got that armband. And you know what? He took leadership. There's been times before where I was thinking about him being a captain, but I didn't know how good his grasp of English was. And I watched an interview with him the other week when he won man of the match against Tottenham, and his grasp of English is probably better than mine. So, yeah, I've got no qualms whatsoever if he wants to be a captain again. And yeah, I thought he was masterful yesterday. I really did. There's a point in the game where you can see, like you put the pictures there with Haaland and with others, and it's like what I mentioned earlier, where we're just not pushovers anymore. And we really did get under their skin yesterday. And I don't just think that's important for yesterday. I think that's important for the rest of the season. And I can't remember if it was TNT Brazil or TSN Brazil that he did an interview with after the game. But the quotes have come out because obviously, you know, I don't, like I said, I just about speak English. I can't speak Portuguese, sadly. He said, I can't wait till they come and try that at our house. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm like, he's already, you know how people have calendars on the wall, don't they? And they cross the day. Yeah. He's crossing every day with vigor until that next Man City fixture comes out. You know, he's just ready and waiting because, again, the stuff with Haaland, the ball to the back of the head, I think, you know, it's a dirty move. I don't, like, you know, I'm not on that. But the rest of it, I don't really. Okay, yeah, it's a bit, you know, there, here and there, but I get it, and I want that sort of stuff back. You know, like Keane and Vieira in the old day. You need a bit of that. And for me, Man City have won everything at a canter because nobody hated them. No club really had a big rivalry. They were so bigger than Manchester United that it was a bit like how we are with Spurs, where you're a noisy neighbour. You're not a rival. You're a noisy neighbour. Just go away and we'll see you next year and what have you. Liverpool and them, who they said were their big rival, it was the nicest rivalry I've ever seen. You know, they did ring around the roses type rivalry. They were all so confident. Oh, I love you, Klopp. Oh no, I love you, Pep. Oh no, I love you, Klopp. You know, we weren't ever nasty. This is building. This is getting to a stage where, like the 90s, it's nasty and it's going to be box office. And and I think that it's going to go in Arsenal's favour. I think that's the biggest takeaway from yesterday, not just from his performance, because he spearheaded a lot of it because he was, you know, nudging a lot of them. I mean, the goal, like you said, I don't know what Carl Walker's trying. We all know what Carl Walker's like, where he tries to, you know, influence and flirt with people. I think he was, you know, how when you've been going to the gym for a long time and you see somebody and they're like, oh, I tell you what, your arms are looking, you know, you're looking really well lately. He's doing that to him, and he's like, oh, Gabriel, you're quite big, you're much bigger in person than you look on the telly. And he's turned around and gone, oh, he's behind me now. And then the first one that he should have scored from, God knows what. I mean, I know we took their set-piece coach off them, but I don't know why they left Doku on it. They leave one of the smallest people. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. He should have scored twice, and he knows it as well. Two. Yeah. But at the moment, and I mean, I said it to you last week, isn't it? The most clinical Brazilian we got in the squad's the centre-back, and I don't care anymore. I don't care who scores. I mean, 2 goals yesterday from defenders. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's the thing is as well, is with everything that happened in the game, what's been lost is that there were 2 brilliant goals scored yesterday that's not getting enough credit. The first one, an absolute rocket, and like you said, the celebration. I think Arteta was bricking it. I think he weren't thinking he's going to pick me up. He looked frightened. He's like, oh, you know, and then all of a sudden it went to the set. He was petrified. He was like, oh my God, don't pick me up. And, but 2 great goals, and Saka's delivery as well is just getting better and better.
I was going to say,
I've critiqued him in the past for not getting it over the first man, but no, they're really drilling that in now. And you know, like we were laughing about the Tottenham fans the week before, where they can't watch. You know, they were turning away when we got the corner. I think now, a bit like people keep going on about these Barclays men and showing the Rory Delap throw-in clips. Arsenal at corners now. That's just that's you know, they're just as good as any chance. You know, we're as lethal at corners as people are. I think, what is it, 86% of penalties are scored? I'd love to know what our percent of corners are scored, because there's got to be at least 70 plus, at least.
Yeah. Or an effort on target. I like to see what, or an effort at goal results in it. Probably what you want to look at. But yeah, unbelievable stuff. And yeah, you're right. Saka's delivery for the second one was just absolute peach of a cross as well. But yeah, obviously, and touching on Calafiori, obviously big shout. I think Brian, you mentioned that in the Atalanta chat that you probably would like to see him over on that side with Timber coming across to the right, and it worked out that way. But obviously, it was because of a potential knock to Ben White, and obviously he came on at half time. Just obviously, just before we round things up, Lauren, I think you mentioned before. Did anyone have any problems with the way that we set up in that second half? Like, I know we wanted to hold the lead, but was anyone kind of concerned that there wasn't anything else kind of done in terms of when, like a focal point, or because I'm just thinking, as a player myself, it would have been absolutely horrible just to actually do that for 45, 56 minutes. But do you think that maybe there should have been maybe a rotation, or maybe someone up there just to pull one of theirs away? Or did you just think that was the cards we were dealt with? There was nothing else we could do?
To be honest, at halftime, I was surprised to see Saka come off for Ben White. I think, if you want to have the opportunity, I mean, leaving Martinelli on, who isn't in the best of form, okay, he got an assist yesterday, which I think will do absolute wonders to his confidence, and it kind of silences, everyone talking about him and him not performing. But as the game went on, I thought he did very, very well. And what was asked of him in terms of defending, he really got back. He really worked hard. And even Jesus coming on as well. I mean, okay, he didn't have that, it was tough because as soon as we got the ball, there was just no options. And I think we were so drilled defensively that we were almost too scared to go forward. Havertz was on the pitch, and I think James said it earlier, he hung back and he did his defensive duties that were asked of him. It wasn't as if we were looking for a winning goal. We were 2-1 up, and the goal was to defend and to keep the scoreline as it was. And I think, to be honest, we did it brilliantly. All the players who were on the pitch. Also, I have no issue with Havertz and Timber as well having no accurately completed passes. It is what it is. Yeah. You still come away with 1 point from the Etihad. It's not an easy task at all. No, I think overall, the only thing I found pretty strange, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, is bringing on a substitute who's already on a yellow card.
Yeah.
That to me was a bit of a rogue move. That was the only thing I didn't really understand. That was the only change or the only choice that I really didn't get, because, okay, you're into the last few minutes of the game, but what happens if, his first Premier League game, what happens if Haaland gets the best of him and he gets a leg in, and then he's off, and then we're down to 9. That was the only concern that I had, but thankfully nothing happened there. He looked decent when he came on. I don't think anything really too crazy happened. Obviously, he was on the pitch for the second goal, but every single player had switched off for 0.5 second, and that's all it took. No, I thought it was a really smart decision from Arteta and the bench to really sit back, and again, it just showed how brilliant we are at defending. We had 5 centre backs / full-backs on the pitch, and at no point really did our structure falter. Did we look too overwhelmed? Of course, it was during the set piece, like I said, where we just switched off. But I think overall, you have to give credit where credit's due, and a lot of, Arsenal's defensive record is the best in the league. And yesterday we just proved why. It's the resilience, it's the determination, and I think all your points about Gabriel as well are spot on. I think the only thing I would add to that is, I don't know many other centre backs who would be able to step up to the task of being in a partnership with the best or one of the best centre backs in the world, the way that he's done it, considering, the criticism maybe, or the mistakes he's made in the past, the growth that he's shown as well. I think it kind of encapsulates the direction that the team's going in, and for him to have the captain's band was symbolic and perfect, I thought. So no, in terms of the second half, I think we were just a little bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, so well, I don't think we can be too disappointed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think James obviously mentioned it as well earlier that basically Arteta backs the best functioning part of the team, which was the defense, right? He just basically, got he played a game of poker. He put it all on that, didn't he? And put all these chips in and said, okay, let's see what you can do, And I think the question that people are asking City is, well, you effectively dropped 2 points against a title challenger. You've had 45 minutes against them, or 56 minutes against them at home, and you've not done anything. You've not really, apart from a scrappy effort, a centre back scoring, who you've chucked on, has got you out of jail. So I think, I think I was just wanting to put the question out there just to see if anyone thought maybe there was a different way to approach it, but no. So just before we go, we obviously we've got Bolton in the cup. I'll go to you, James. You're pretty much expecting a complete rotation. You lot of the kids that we've got on the bench. I think you've got Heaven, Lewis Skelly, Wanyeri will play, I'm sure. He's probably going to have to play one or two that he doesn't want to. He's probably have to do like 40, 60 and a bit more. But you pretty much, you're not expecting any of the big hitters to feature on Wednesday, are you?
I don't know. I saw that there was a youth game today, and Heaven and Kukuri, a few of the ones that have been actually in the squad, were playing. So that indicates to me that they won't be in on Wednesday if they've played tonight. But yeah, I think for me, hopefully, we see Lewis Skelly start. We see Nwaneri definitely start. I think Nwaneri now, like I mentioned earlier about how you've lost your main attacking facilitator and you need someone to step up in that. I know Rice is back. Obviously, Trossard is only going to be suspended for the Bolton game, hopefully, and then he can come back against Leicester. So that doesn't. But I think in terms of who you're going to get to step up, obviously Moreno is injured. You've got him coming back. I think you've got to roll with this kid, because I saw it against Tottenham in the first. The first thing he did when he come on was absolutely send that. I can't remember who the player was. That's how good it was. I've forgotten who it was that he done it to. But he just completely sent him. So to me, he looks ready. And going with what Lauren said about bringing on a player that was booked, to me, that shows how much he believes in Lewis Skelly as well. Because he's like, even though you are booked, go out there and do something, help me hold this. And again, he's trying to develop him, isn't he, as a fullback? And I don't think he had any other option at a defence. He already brought Kivior on. That was that. The only other defender would have been obviously Maldini Kukuri, but then is he, 16? He's even younger than Lewis Skelly is. He's never, he's not even been around the first team squad. At least Skelly's been there for pre-season and he's been bedding him in gradually over time. So I can understand that one. But yeah, I think there will be a few more senior players, because he hasn't, other than last season, didn't he, in our first Carabao game, he only played Sago Jr. was the only young kid that was in. So
that's right.
I think he's going to take it a lot more seriously than, it's not going to be like the Wenger days where you see a Lou Polly or a Carlos Vela and go, oh my goodness, look at it. This is someone special coming through. I think he looks at it as, I need to, this is what maybe a competition I can win. And I hope that we do go far at it, I want to win as much as we can. I'm greedy, Mike. So, I think it's going to be a lot stronger than what people think. But definitely will be some of the kids in there. And I hope that it's a good day out as well for everybody, because a lot of new fans go to these games. So,
yes, that's right. Yeah. I think you're spot on. You probably will do something like that. Have a sprinkling of the.
I reckon the kid will play in goal as well, actually, because we can't play Neto.
He'll have to. He'll have to, won't he? Yeah.
Well, I don't think Raya will probably go, I'll play, boss. But I wouldn't. I'd be like, no. I'd be like, you sit this one out. Put that Setford in, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. That had a clip of him limping out the ground yesterday. I don't know whether that was. I think you said he had a cut.
Jack. It looked like he cut his knee. Yeah.
So hopefully he should be all right. But yeah. Interesting game yesterday. The fallout continues. really triggered so many people. It's been amazing to see. Absolutely rattled Man City. You know, I think they've got more pressing concerns. Obviously, what's going on off the field at the moment, but I think, like you guys have said, on the field, we are not the pushovers anymore. You know, we've taken a few players off them. We've taken a couple of staff members off them. And they probably thought nothing of it, and look where we are now. You know, we're right on their coattails, and I don't think we're going to be going anywhere. And I think you've all said the resolve we've shown going through this week in what we've done and how we stood up to them, and how close we were to getting that result. I think it's going to stand us in real good stead, and especially if Rodri, it seems like he's going to be out for considerable length of time. Some people are saying out for the season. We have to wait and see, but that's massive for them because unless they probably end up putting someone like John Stones in there and see what happens there. But when you think other than Haaland, if something happened to Haaland, they haven't got a centre forward, and he's always due. You know, in his days before at his previous club, he's always had a reasonable spell out. He had a spell out last year, so he's always due a month or something out. But at least with Rodri, I mean, he won't have to go and strike now, will he? I know he was talking about it. At least he hasn't got to worry about that. But I think Jack said in our chat, it's going to be really mad for him when he does return. And to the City lineup, you know, his first game could be against Barnet at the Hive. That would be a real culture shock for him if that's the case. So let's see what happens with that, or maybe Leighton Orient. Who knows? I'll go along and watch that and laugh if that's the case. But thanks for your time, good people. Thanks very much. I know you know, before everyone wants to try and get our words in, and yeah, it was just such a pivotal moment in the season. I think I just wanted to get you all on to have a chat and get involved. Obviously, James, your debut for the season as well. Obviously, thanks for letting me on your channel, and you know, everyone, you know, who you know, please subscribe to James's stuff. He does his. You still do the Premier League predictions as well, do you, or do you do the previews as well?
I'm trying as best I can, but I'm lazy, Mike. You know how I am. I mean, I didn't wake up this morning for the other one, so yeah, I'm glad yours was at 8 at night because I'm already awake. You know, 6 in the morning, bit difficult, bit hard, yeah, but I'm all right.
No, thanks, James, and obviously please check out his YouTube channel as well. Brilliant stuff, and also Lauren, thanks for your time as well. The host of the Ladies in Red podcast, which has just kicked into gear. Obviously, going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, and hopefully, the women getting through to the next stage of get through to the group stage of the Champions League. Massive game,
yeah,
massive
for
game.
sure.
And you know, I think Etihad needs to get through this, because I think questions will be seriously asked if we don't get into that pot. And you know, great stuff that you're doing there. Great to see the channel growing as well. And
thank you very much.
Please subscribe and follow to hers. Brian hasn't got a channel or podcast yet, but he will have one, and he'll be just ranting, a bit like Alex Jones of Arsenal. He'll just be ranting about Pgmol and just going on about that. I'm sure I'll guest on that when he gets.
I feel like there's a gap in the market for that for sure. Yeah.
I think there is. You think that, you know, Arsenal fan with a foil hat and just ranting about Pgmol, just like 24 hours. Like, I think it would be. I think it might be onto something there. Good idea, Lauren. But no, thanks for your time, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. We'll get this out, obviously, on the usual platforms, obviously YouTube, of course, and on your wherever you get your podcasts as well. Hopefully, you can listen to us on there. We'll be back after the Leicester game, when Jamie Vardy will get pocketed by Phil and Grant, and yeah, we'll hopefully go 3-point collecting and just get a run going, obviously, before another international break. But thanks, Jack. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the week. Up the Gunners, and see you all soon. Take care.